So good morning, everyone. I'm Bobby Spiegel. I'm the president and CEO for the Corona Chamber of Commerce, and I'm flat out excited about this program that we bring to you every single week. Every Wednesday, it is called the CCBB, or the Corona Chamber Business Briefing. It has been designed and introduced as a quick snapshot of what is going on, mainly in the state of California, but occasionally we do have some information that we share with you on this call regarding federal issues, and then, of course, local and regional issues. We have a couple of different individuals. I'm going to introduce our chair of this event, of this program, of our CCBB calls and our advocacy outreach. It is the Honorable Jeff Miller, who used to be a state assembly member. He is retired from that position. And when he was in office up in Sacramento and he represented the greater Corona area, he would focus in on business issues and bring some real common sense that you and I think about every single day, because he's also a business owner. But the majority of the people in Sacramento that are elected to these positions have never, ever had to sign both sides of a check. They don't understand what you go through on a daily basis, how to pay the power bill or any of the utilities, or what to do with hiring people or letting people go, or your supply chain challenges. They are clueless in California. With that being said, Jeff is engaged with another gentleman by the name of Jeff, and he'll introduce him later on. But we are very fortunate to have Jeff Miller here on the call. He is our chair. He is also a very successful business owner here in Corona. He has an insurance brokerage company, and he used to serve also as a volunteer, basically, as our mayor. He was elected to the city council and then served as mayor. All of this while running a very, very successful business. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Honorable Jeff Miller.
All right, Bobby. Bobby, thank you so much again for such a kind introduction. The only thing I would add was that some of my best friends that I actually worked well with were members of the other party. So if there is a method, there is a way. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, Jeff. Really, really glad, because everyone needs to understand we are bipartisan here. But the point is that Jeff understood how to do that, and he's going to share some of that common sense with us today. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I could not have gotten any of the things I got done without support of the members of the opposing party. So hopefully there is hope for us in the future. We shall find out in 7 days, because the election's coming up next week. Make sure you fill out your ballots and encourage everybody to vote. And let's get right into it. Today's meeting is sponsored by Megan's Organic Market. Megan's Organic Market, or also known as MOM, is a 100% women-owned company. Their mission is to redefine society's relationship with cannabis through responsible stewardship. They continually seek market opportunities to improve the health of others and community through education, awareness, and access to the sustainable, high-quality cannabis products. Thank you, Megan's Organic Market, MOM, for sponsoring the meeting. There's the logo. And if you have any questions, there's a little chat button on the bottom. Feel free to use that. And with that, I'll hand it over to Anthony for announcements.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Just two quick announcements today. The first one is regarding our Good Morning Corona event. It is our last Good Morning Corona of the year. It is taking place next Thursday, November 10th. We are honoring our military. This is our salute to the military event. So all veteran, active duty, and reservists receive free registration. However, we do ask that you register by this Friday, November 4th. As you all know, this is going to be our biggest Good Morning Corona of the year. So make sure to get there early, as it is going to be very jam-packed. We do have a few spots open for sponsorships and exhibitor tables. However, as you know, the space is going to be packed. So if you do want to exhibit, please reach out to us by either the link that I will post in the chat or by the bit.ly that you see on your screen. The last event that I do want to talk about is our veteran-owned business seminar. On November 15th, we will be hosting this seminar. This is in partnership with the City of Corona and will feature a panel of speakers representing local veteran-owned businesses. They're going to be sharing a lot of their insight and guidance to other veterans who may be interested in starting their own business or who already have their own business. We will also have a speaker from the County of Riverside who will be providing information on some of the resources that the county offers these businesses. And all this is going to be taking place on November 15th, 12 p.m. here at the Corona Chamber of Commerce. So for more information, I will be putting the link in the chat, or you can also scan the QR code now on your screen. That is all the events I have to cover today. So back to you, Jeff.
All right, thank you, Anthony. I'd like to introduce our political consultant, Jeff Gibson. Jeff Gibson owns Occidental Communications Group, and for 35 years, he has specialized in areas of political campaigns, government affairs, government relations, has specialized in areas of housing and transportation and crime, and all sorts of good things. So, Jeff Gibson, it's all yours.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. So looking at where the state is going on the eve of, and did everybody dress up for Fed Day? Today's the day that the Federal Reserve meets to determine the next move in interest rates. Anybody want to guess? Job openings were up this morning, which is good news for the economy. And as the Federal Reserve works, what is often good news for the economy when you are headed into an area of high inflation means that it's good, bad news for the money supply. And so we're looking at about a 3/4 point increase in the interest rate. That's pretty widely reported. If you're coming here for that news, you've probably seen it 5 or 6 different times. So we wanted to dig in and see what the economic effects, what the actual on the ground effects of long-term economic trends are doing. So we looked at 3 areas that we've discussed before, but have been the focus of about $6 trillion. That's 6, which is right after 5 and just before 7. Trillion, which is right after billion and just before gazillion. $6 trillion, which is about the real size of the Chinese economy, which if you look at the Chinese economy, it is ranked number 2 of 198 known countries in the world. So I believe number 2 is a rather large country. I think everybody can agree that would be a large economy. And so it seems like if our economy over the last 3 years spent $6 trillion on 2 or 3 areas in the economy, that it must be something that's important to us. So let's take a look. Since if you're on the call and you make less than $250,000 a year, the president wants to give you $20,000 back in student loans. So we are, so on our first slide here, we're looking at college. So looking at what we're calling college by the numbers, you would think if we're going to make college free, that there would be an increase in people that would be applying and entering college. You would think if people, especially young people, ended up during the lockdown having more time on their hands. We know that younger workers are not flocking, other than Anthony, into the job market because there's a record number of job openings. So clearly, they've got to be doing something. Well, one of the things they are not doing is flocking to college. So college enrollment since August of 2020, since 2021. So the class entering college in 2022 was 1.1% lower than it was in 2021. And okay, so was there a record number of people entering, matriculating into college? See, I used a college word there. That was just to impress Jeff Miller. He insists that I upgrade my language, which is why Anthony's on the mute button. On a moment's notice, we run this at a 5-second delay. So, was there a massive increase in matriculating students in 2021? Well, actually, no, there isn't, because since the March 2020 lockdowns, the actual enrollment in colleges across the United States has fallen by 6.5%, which seems like it's a very large number if we are going to be investing trillions of extra dollars in it, including a loan forgiveness of $400 billion that will end up costing us $732 billion, or roughly the size of the Italian economy, which again, I've heard of the country of Italy, so I believe it's a rather large economy. So that seems like it would be a important policy to have considered and run through Congress, but there are people that would disagree with that, and one of them's the president. So we are on a path here where we have had 2 very bad years for people entering college, which is obviously something that we are concerned about. We have a lot of people in the Inland Empire that are very concerned about a brain drain here. Well, apparently we don't have to worry about a brain drain because people are not interested in developing their brains. So now, where are young people? There has to be some sort of increase in the system. It's a rather large system, and what we're finding are that online enrollment for 18 to 20-year-olds since March 2020 has been on a tear and is up over 23%, 23.4% to be exact. So people are opting to stay, to go to college online and stay online for whatever that their education needs are. So that's something that we're going to be tracking. It's something that's going to be redefining the college experience and the education experience and the training experience over time. It's something that I'm sure many of us have experienced as well. So that's really where we are on education right now. And so you have to start asking yourself why in the infrastructure bill, if you have college enrollments down that far, are we spending hundreds of millions of dollars in this state alone on increasing the number of college classrooms? And if that is a long time investment that we are interested in continuing to pursue heading into a structural deficit in 2023. So if you have any questions, Anthony, any questions?
There are no questions at this time.
All right, so heading into the second slide, housing by the numbers. As we know, we discuss housing quite often. Now we're looking at the issue of affordability. This last 2 weeks, the home mortgage rates hit 7% for the first time this century. I did have to look up the word century. It ends up that it's a really, really long time. Apparently, 22 years ago, there was a new one that started. The president assures us, though, that we are still in 1998, so that's fine. But for the first time this century, mortgage rates, which last year were in the 3 to 4% range, have doubled and are now at 7%. And I'm going to guess that as the prime interest rate moves to 5% with the Fed this morning, or closes in on 5%, that you're going to see mortgage rates go a heck of a lot higher. What ends up happening there, of course, is that the Fed has already issued a statement this morning that it does not see an interest rate cut until sometime in 2024. So you're looking at housing affordability in the Inland Empire and elsewhere. Mortgage rates very likely could end up back in double digits for the first time in at least 30 years, if not deeper in to the 1980s. So For those of you that were Tears for Fears fans, this is probably not the thing that you were hoping would come back from the 1980s, but it is definitely looking like it's upon us. So, looking at what did that do to the sales of new homes? As you can imagine, if you double the price of a loan to buy a new home, you oftentimes get a cooling off in the market for new homes. And sure enough, the market for new homes dropped 11% month over month. So August 2022 to September 2022. And you can say, well, that might just be a cooling off in the market. As we're heading into fall, there could be rain in some places. It could have been hot out. There may have been an avalanche that affected large parts of the economy. Who knows? And so we looked, and sure enough, a year over year, September 2021 to September 2022, you have 17.6% in a volume drop. So you've got a deep double-digit drop, and you are sustaining that double-digit drop month over month. So this is the problem that we have with inflation. When inflation is reported to be about 8.6% year over year, you have to go back to where it was a year previous and find out that it was 4%, 4 or 5 or 6% over the previous year. So that's where we come back and say your prices are 15% higher over the last 18-month span. This is what we're looking at here. And you've got a 17.6% drop in new home sales. That also goes with existing home sales, which also goes to, which then translates into government policy of the city of Corona being in the business of pushing for new housing at the urging or at the requirement of the state. It's not the urging, it's the requirement. And what you have now is a strong cooling off in the demand for new homes. And so this is something that we're going to continue to track, because obviously we're going to be hearing about it when we travel to Sacramento, which looks like we're traveling, Bobby, correct me on the dates, 16th through the 18th of next year, and to Sacramento for the host breakfast and the California Chamber Business Summit, the Corona Business Summit.
Yeah, that would be in May.
May 16th through the 18th, so mark your calendars. Any questions on this cavalcade of good news, or do we keep the express moving?
I think you can keep it moving, no questions.
All right, there we go. Let me fuel up for a second. Moving on to the ports. So you can say, well, so things aren't going super well. We have some strong headwinds, but at least Southern California is home to the 2 largest ports in North America, and that's fantastic. And we're going to be going all green, and the market is embracing that. And we're eliminating 1 out of every 3 trucks that the port has access to, because they were purchased before January of 2013. And this is going to be such an exciting thing. And so the market's embracing that. And so let's look at the port numbers. Oh, my goodness. If you can see there on the slide, if on the right-hand side, which ends up, I just learned this today on graphs, that usually the right-hand side of the graph is the most recent. So you could see, like, there's these peaks, and on those peaks, those were records for each of those months. But then you go over to the right side and you see a drop there that is steeper than the drop from during the pandemic. And I don't know if anybody here remembers the pandemic, but there was a time, March 2020, when we actually shut down the port for a period of time, along with a lot of businesses and other things, to avoid the COVID pandemic. And so you can see that there was a severe drop when the port was actually closed. Well, if you look at the direction of how the $3 trillion investment in America's ports is going, almost from the moment that the investment was announced, and it was announced that California's ports were going to be all electric, you can see that the drop in containers through the port is actually steeper than when they physically closed the port and made it illegal for a period of over a month to unload a ship. So let that sink in. But you say, well, we're maybe headed into a recession and Chinese goods aren't coming in, goods from Asia aren't coming in like they were. Well, it ends up that if you look at the ports of New York and New Jersey, suddenly you see, oh, okay, because on the other side of the country, those two ports are now the two largest ports in the country. And you look at that and you think, okay, well, why would that be? Well, it ends up that they are adding trucks to their delivery service. So you're getting out of New York and New Jersey on a quicker basis, that they have deals in place with their rail unions, which if anyone's watching that on our side of the globe, the state and the federal government have been told by rail unions in California to expect a system-wide strike shortly after the election, which apparently is on November 8th. So these actions do have consequences. The port of New York and New Jersey does not and will not be electrified and zero emission at any point in the future. And so shippers have decided to literally ship from China around the tip of Tierra del Fuego to come in through to come into New York and New Jersey because it is actually now less expensive, substantially less expensive, and they can guarantee that they can actually get things to the Western United States faster if they ship it through New York, New Jersey, or Savannah. So the tipping point that we have been warning about for 8 to 10 years is here, at least in the interim as a preview. And so this is going to be something that we are dealing with on an ongoing basis here in California. Of course, about 1 out of every 6 jobs in Southern California, which it ends up is a large number, no matter what Jeff Miller tells me, is dependent upon upon the supply chain system that comes directly from the ports. So this is something that we can expect is we're going to be hearing about this quite a lot, whether it's on this call or in the other news sources that you guys use during your day. So happy to answer any questions that you may have. And that's the report for today.
Thank you, Jeff. There are no questions.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much for all that detailed information. Very interesting. Okay, let's wrap it up. And Anthony, if you can put up our elected officials. There's our assembly member and our senator. If you need to reach out, we will be having a second assembly member joining this group. We just don't know who it is because the election is next week. But Corona will have 2 assembly members representing them. And that's a good thing for us. I think, my personal opinion, it's a good thing because it allows us to build stronger and wider coalitions with more members of the legislature.
Jeff, I also want to just say that we're going to be known as Noah's Ark next year. We will have 2 assembly members, we will have 2 state senators, and we will have 2 congressmen or Congress personnel. So it's going to be pretty cool. Great representation, great opportunity for us to make some huge inroads with multiple people. So
yeah, it's super exciting for the chamber. Again, we can build a wider coalition of support for initiatives that are important to us, and that's how we get things done. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Peppermint Ridge, for jumping on the call, one of our elite nonprofits here in the city of Corona. And let's see. Thank you, Kimberly Davidson from the fine city of Wildemar. Thank you very much. And with that, unless anybody has anything else, I will adjourn our meeting today until next Wednesday, November 9th. Hope everybody has a great week. Good luck on the Powerball, and make sure you vote.
Thank you,
Meeting
Jeff.
adjourned.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you
Jeff.
guys. Thanks for everyone.